Okay, so I usually start all the interviews out by asking, what is your name and what do you do?
Okay. My name is Tawnee Walling, and I'm the Executive Director of Seacoast Outright. Seacoast Outright is a support and advocacy organization for gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth here in the Seacoast of New Hampshire. We also serve southern Maine and northern Massachusetts as well. We have support groups and discussion groups, social groups. We do special events like dances and coffee houses and things. And then we also have a whole cultural competency training and speakers bureau where we actually take youth into schools or agencies and they talk about their experiences and or they train, for instance, social workers or social service agents how to work most effectively with gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender youth.
So the youth go in and train?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How big is your organization?
We have over 200 youth that come to, over the course of a year. And last year we spoke to over 2,000 people throughout the Seacoast through our training programs.
Oh, wow. How receptive has your organization been in the area? How receptive of your organization have people been, I should say?
I think that in general people are pretty receptive. There has been some controversy over the past 13 years, which is how long we've been in existence.
Oh, wow, 13 years.
Yeah, but I think that in general people are pretty accepting, and this is New England, so pretty much if somebody doesn't agree with something, they're most likely not going to really say anything, because that's just the way people are. They're just kind of live and let live up here, which is really nice. But it is still hard for us to get into schools. The social climate is changing a bit, and where we used to be able to get into schools, now it's becoming a little more difficult with the rise of, I think, religious fundamentalism and more and more organized faith communities teaching their constituencies about LGBT issues and how to prevent their schools from allowing there to be any discussion around LGBT issues or even sexuality education, period. In New Hampshire, they're not allowed to. It's an abstinence-only based education, so they're not even allowed to pass out
for the whole
condoms.
State?
Yeah, in the state of New Hampshire, excuse me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, has that had an effect on your organization?
That hasn't had an effect on our organization because we pass out condoms and dental dams and safe sex supplies to our youth, who need it, no questions asked. And so, the kids know where they can get it. But I think that we will see over time that it does affect youth sexuality, and I think that it affects the rates of teen pregnancy, abortion, and I think most alarmingly the rates of STDs among youth. When you have a culture that doesn't talk about how to be safe, and kids are going to experiment. I mean, they just are. That's the nature of being a young adult, is to figure out who you are and what you want and what feels good and what doesn't. And if they're not learning it in school, they're learning it from their friends or from books or whatever, and that might not be the best education they could be receiving.
So what do you see, if you had to sum it up, what would you say that the purpose of your organization would be to do?
Well, the purpose of our organization is to provide a safe space for queer kids here on the Seacoast, and to provide them with accurate information, to provide them with access to role models, and to provide them with an opportunity to both listen and to give support to one another. So we operate under a youth empowerment model. Everything is pretty much youth-led, youth-driven. We have adults who facilitate groups, but the youth are the ones that move it along. So it's really wonderful because you can really, it gives youth the opportunity to really grow and shine as they see fit, and over a course of a period of time. You can really see youth develop into leaders, and we actively encourage them to participate. We have lots of different opportunities for youth to participate in leadership roles, and we have a peer facilitation program so that youth can actually help facilitate the group. We have an internship program where youth can actually work here at Seacoast Outright for a salary, and they have the opportunity to learn about running a nonprofit, but they also have the opportunity to create something that they would like to do. So one of our youth worked on a queer youth literary magazine. One of our youth sort of is into planning events like coffee houses and dances and things, so that's what he does. One of our youth started a women's group. One of our youth started a young men's group to talk about sex in particular, and STDs, HIV. So it really depends. They can pretty much do what they want. They get a small budget to work with, and then they get to plan it all. And then we also have opportunities on the Speakers Bureau, youth who want to go into their community and talk about their experiences. And then if youth like that, then they can join the training program and actually help create the trainings that we do, cultural competency trainings that we do statewide. And we've done some in Vermont and some in Maine and some in Massachusetts as well. So yes, that's really exciting.
So what kind of impact do you think you've had on the community then?
Well, I think that we've created it's interesting because I run into some of our older, some people that are closer to my age now who used to come to Seacoast Outright as youth, and it's always great to see that because they came out really well adjusted, and there's a way in which I think providing support and providing that safe space can allow youth to grow up and to feel more confident about who they are, and to feel more confident about their sexuality, and to be able to understand risk-taking a little bit better, to engage in a little bit safer behaviors, and maybe not get into the same kind of positions that a lot of queer youth do, where they're abusing alcohol and drugs, tobacco, food, or engaging in risky sex behaviors with multiple partners. So I think that that's positive, and I also think that we're able to affect the climate by our trainings, because the more adults we train and the more adults we speak to who work with youth in the area, the more youth are going to find support in those places.
That's really great.